Welcome to our comprehensive exploration of the sources you shared. We're focusing today on the incredible life and career of Dharmendra Krishan Dole.
A true legend of Indian cinema.
Absolutely. An actor, producer, and politician whose influence spanned an incredible 65 years. He passed away recently on November 24th, 2025, at the age of 89.
And his career trajectory is, well, it's almost unparalleled in Hindi cinema. We're talking about a man who appeared in over 300 films.
And there's a key achievement in the material, a still standing record.
That's right. He holds the record for starring in the highest number of certified hit films in the history of the industry. It's an incredible statistic.
That one fact alone tells such a powerful story. So our objective here is to go beyond just the numbers and really try to understand the scope of his cultural influence.
Right.
How a man known so affectionately as India's He-Man and Garam Dharam evolved into this highly respected, though sometimes controversial, patriarch.
The patriarch of one of Bollywood's most enduring families, for sure.
We have a huge collection of biographical and professional details, so let's unpack this journey of really grit and commercial dominance that defined him.
It's the sheer perseverance that stands out to me, especially when you look at his origins. He wasn't, born into this.
Not at all. His path was marked by a lot of struggle from the very beginning.
A huge amount of struggle.
So let's start there with the foundation of the legend. Before he became a megastar, his roots were deep in rural Punjab. What do we know about his origins?
Well, Dharmendra Krishan Dole was born on December 8, 1935. This was in the village of Nasrali, which is in the Ludhiana district of what was then British India.
And his family background?
He was from a Punjabi Hindu Jat family. We get a very clear picture of his upbringing. He spent his early life in the village of Sanawal.
And his father was a headmaster, right?
Yes, at the government senior secondary school at Laltan Kalan, Ludhiana, which is where Dharmendra also studied. So you see a background rooted in education, in structure.
A respectable, educated background, but one that's completely separate from the world of cinema.
Completely. And that initial journey into that world sounds just exceptionally rough. The material says his first try in Mumbai was a complete failure.
What happened there?
He took the leap, full of ambition, but Bollywood is famously harsh on outsiders.
Of course.
And that first attempt to break in was a total washout. The rejection was so complete that he was forced to go all the way back home to Punjab.
And the sources mention the job he took when he got back.
They do, and it really underlines the desperation. He took a job with a drilling company. I mean, can you imagine? The future He-Man, who would soon dominate the screen doing this tough manual labor job.
Believing his dream was completely over.
Exactly. It must have been so demoralizing.
So what prompted him to risk it all again? To risk another failure?
It just speaks volumes about his drive. The second attempt was sparked by an advertisement. He saw a notice for the Filmfare magazine talent hunt.
And that gave him a structured way back into the city.
A renewed sense of hope. And it's a poignant detail that, he only placed second in that contest. The winner, a guy named Suresh Puri, pretty much vanished from the public eye.
So winning isn't everything.
Not at all. And even after that, Dharmendra didn't immediately find success. The early professional hurdles were still so intense.
To the point where he was ready to give up for a second time?
Yes. The material highlights that he was reportedly about to leave Mumbai yet again, just feeling overwhelmed by the struggle.
Until someone stepped in.
A contemporary, another aspiring actor who would later become a huge star himself, Manoj Kumar.
And his intervention was pivotal.
Absolutely. He persuaded Dharmendra to stay. It's one of those moments that really changes the course of cinema history.
His debut finally came in 1960. Dil Bhi Tera Hum Bhi Ter. Was this the big break?
Far from it, actually. That film largely failed to perform at the box office. It just went unnoticed.
So the superstardom was built on patience?
A lot of patience. His first real commercial success only came a year later, in 1961, with Shola or Shabnam.
And then a few more hits followed.
Yes, like Amapad in 62, and then Bimal Roy's critically acclaimed Bandini in 1963, which, interestingly, won the National Film Award for Best Feature Film in Hindi.
So the 60s started out slowly, establishing him more as a serious, promising actor.
Exactly. Not so much the heartthrob or the action star he would become. That comes a little later.
Which sets the stage for the mid-1960s. This is where he really begins his ascent, moving from a newcomer to a recognized commercial force.
The transformation really started in 1964 with the super hit Aai Milan Ki Bella. And what's intriguing here is that he actually played the antagonist in that film.
Against Rajendra Kumar and Sarah Banu.
And yet his performance was powerful enough to earn him his first major nod, a nomination for the Filmfare Award for Best Supporting Actor. He was building his reputation, playing these roles with real teeth.
And that same year, 1964, also brought a much more serious film, Hakikat.
That's the Cheat Nanan war drama. It was based on the very recent and somber history of the Sino-Indian War of 1962.
And the film was a major success.
Critically and commercially, yes. A super hit. It connected so deeply with the national sentiment, and its song, Karshela Hamfida, became, universally popular.
So he could do both, escapist cinema and serious patriotic drama.
He had that range. But the real commercial game changer, the one that made him a box office certainty, seems to have been Fool Our Pathar in 1966.
Absolutely. Fool Our Pathar was massive. He reunited with Meena Kumari, and the film just topped the box office charts. It became a certified major blockbuster.
And the success was so significant that it immediately cemented his reputation as a saleable star.
And he got his first Best Actor nomination for it.
For the first time, yes. He was no longer just a supporting player or a promising face. He was a leading man who could deliver huge commercial success.
And this wasn't just a one-off. The momentum carried him right into a string of hits that same year.
Mamta, Devar, Anupama, Aiden Baharke. And it's worth noting that Anupama specifically brought him that critical recognition at the National Film Awards, reinforcing his range.
But the late 60s, that's what cemented his critical standing, which is often overlooked because of his later action image.
I'm glad you brought that up. Many critics and fans still point to his 1969 performance in Hrishikesh Mukherjee's social drama Satyakam
as his best ever.
Widely, perhaps universally, considered his career best acting performance. His portrayal of a righteous man in that film was it was something else.
And it won the National Award for Best Feature Film in Hindi.
It did. So this period really confirms that balance he had. The ability to deliver artistic brilliance right alongside that commercial viability.
The late 60s also saw a massive shift in Bollywood, didn't they? The emergence of Rajesh Khanna.
The first true superstar phenomenon. It was an era of unprecedented mass hysteria surrounding Khanna, and a lot of career, they really suffered a sharp decline.
But not Dharmendra's.
No. What's truly fascinating, according to the sources, is that during this incredibly volatile period, he and Dev An were the only two leading actors whose careers remained completely unaffected.
He was weatherproof.
He really was. He closed out the decade strong with the super hit Aya Sawan Jahom and 3 more successful films in 1969. He just maintained his position regardless of the competition.
That resilience is the perfect setup for the 1970s, which is often seen as his undisputed zenith, the era that officially crowned him superstar.
And that decade is so heavily defined by 2 things: his action hero image and, of course, an iconic personal and professional pairing.
Hema Malini.
Hema Malini. The 1970s started with immediate success for them. Their chemistry was instant in films like Tumasin, Main Jawan, and Sharifat.
And that pairing would go on to become the most successful of his career.
Absolutely. 13 films together. They would dominate the decade.
Let's focus on the game changer of this period, Mera Gaon Mera Desh in 1971. The sources label this film an all-time blockbuster. That's a very high classification.
It's the highest tier. And that film completely redefined him. It was this seminal action drama that definitively established his rugged, charismatic image as the ultimate action hero.
And its influence went far beyond just his own image.
Oh, absolutely. The sources state that the sheer explosive size of that film's success triggered a seismic industry-wide shift.
Away from the softer romantic films.
Exactly. It ushered in the age of action films. Dharmendra literally shaped the industry's output for the next decade.
And once that action hero image was set, his commercial peak was almost instantaneous.
Yes, the mass appeal from Mera Gaon Mera Desh in 71, followed by rapid-fire hits like Sidor Gita, Raja Jane, and Samadhi in 72.
He just took off.
He officially surpassed all his contemporaries. This run of success elevated him to the undisputed #1 position, earning him the formal title of superstar from the trade.
And the sheer volume of work during this period is staggering. 1973 is highlighted as the best year of his entire career.
7 successful films in 1 year.
That's almost 1 hit every 7 weeks. It's unbelievable.
The consistency is just mind-boggling. His first release that year, Loafer, was a super hit, and its soundtrack, especially the song Aaj Mausam Bada Beimam, became one of the best-selling Hindi film albums of the entire decade.
So he was defining popular culture through the music of his films as well.
In every way. And that year also saw the conceptual birth of the masala film genre, a term you hear all the time.
Right. So what exactly is a masala film, and why is Yaran Ki Barat considered the first?
That's a crucial concept. A masala film, masala meaning spice mix, is a uniquely Indian style that deliberately blends multiple genres.
Action, comedy, romance.
Song and dance, heavy melodrama, all of it. It's blended into a single, highly entertaining product designed for mass appeal.
And Yaran Ki Barat perfected that blend.
It's identified as the genesis of the style because it perfected it. It structured the entire narrative around these varied high-octane elements. It was a structural innovation.
And a huge blockbuster.
A huge blockbuster. And it featured the second best-selling Bollywood album of the 70s. But 1973 didn't stop there. He also had Jungnu, which was a blockbuster not just in India, but also in the Soviet Union.
7 successful films in 12 months. It's an industry record that just shows his star power was overwhelming.
It was. All of this leads us to 1975, and the film that defines Hindi cinema globally, Sholay.
A legendary film. But the sources reveal something astonishing about its initial release. It flopped.
It did. It's hard to believe now, but Sholay was released in August 1975, and it faced really poor box office returns in its first 2 weeks.
Why?
A combination of sort of lukewarm reviews and, surprisingly, a lack of effective visual marketing. Audiences just weren't being drawn to the theaters at first.
And the panic was so severe that the director and writer actually considered changing the film's ending?
They absolutely did. Ramesh Sippy and Celine Javed were seriously contemplating reshooting the final sequence.
To let Amitabh Bachchan's character survive.
Specifically, to let Jai survive. But they abandoned the idea because starting in the third week, the tide turned dramatically.
What changed? What did the audiences see that the critics missed?
This is what defines Sholay's legacy. Audiences responded to the sheer cultural experience of it. They embraced the blend of action, humor, unforgettable dialogue.
And the two anti-heroes.
Jai and Viru, played by him and Amitabh, fighting against this irredeemable villain, Gabbar Singh. Word of mouth just spread like wildfire. By the third week, it became an overnight sensation and rapidly achieved all-time blockbuster status.
The records Sholay set are the stuff of legend. Let's clarify some of the terminology here for our listeners. Let's start with Golden Jubilee.
A Golden Jubilee means a film ran continuously in theaters for 50 consecutive weeks. Sholay achieved an absolutely unprecedented record of 60 Golden Jubilees across India.
60.
60. And it was the first film in India to celebrate a Silver Jubilee, that's 25 weeks, at over 100 theaters simultaneously. And famously, it ran continuously at Bombay's Minerva Theatre for over 5 years.
A run like that is just incomprehensible today.
Impossible.
And maybe the most telling statistic is footfalls. The sources give a truly staggering number for audience attendance. What does footfalls mean?
Footfalls is the definitive measure of actual tickets sold, regardless of ticket prices or inflation. It's the clearest way to compare historical audience size.
And for Sholay, it's 15 to 18 crore.
Which translates to between 150 million and 180 million tickets sold, just in India. It remains the highest-grossing Indian film in terms of audience attendance to this day. It's an enduring measure of his mass appeal.
And his international draw was equally massive. You mentioned it with Jugnu, but there's also Dharamveer.
That's a perfect example from 1977. In the UK, Dharamveer set a record initial collection. And even more impressively, it sold 32 million tickets in the Soviet Union.
So he was a genuine global star, decades before that term became common.
He really was.
So moving beyond the late 70s, the box office landscape changed. But the sources make it clear that Dharmendra's sheer popularity ensured sustained success well into the 1990s.
His ability to guarantee an audience remained intact. While the sheer volume of all-time blockbusters slowed down after 1977, he was still a massive commercial force.
He staged a big rebound in 1982.
A significant rebound. He delivered 5 commercial successes that year, which just speaks to his durability. Rajput Battle Ki Agag.
A whole list of them.
And he proved that his remarkable feat from 1973, those 7 successful films, was repeatable. He matched that record years later.
In 1987.
In 1987, he once again delivered 7 successful films. And crucially, one of them, Hukumat, emerged as the highest-grossing film of that year.
So he wasn't just succeeding, he was still leading the box office.
A remarkable feat spanning 2 decades of dominance.
But the 1990s brought some external challenges that really impacted his career momentum, especially with one big multi-starrer film.
The early 90s were disruptive. While Tahalka in 1992 was his final certified hit as a lead actor, his momentum was unfortunately broken by events completely outside the film world.
With the film Kshatriya.
Yes, his 1993 multi-starrer
Yeah.
Kshatriya. It took a record opening, showing his star power was still immediate, but its collections dropped drastically and the film ended up flopping.
Why?
It was pulled from theaters.
And this was directly linked to the aftermath of the 1993 Bombay bombings. We need to be clear about the context here.
The film's failure was tragic, and entirely due to circumstances surrounding his co-star, Sanjay Dutt, and his involvement in that case.
So amidst the public outrage and political pressure, the film was essentially removed from circulation.
Exactly. It made a commercial success impossible, despite its enormous initial draw. It was a failure of a circumstance, not of his star power.
After the mid-90s, he then transitions into character roles, a smart career move that renewed his relevance.
He officially shifted to character roles in the late 90s, starting with the super-hit romantic comedy Pyar Kiya to Darna Kiya in '98. After a brief hiatus, his career saw a clear renaissance in 2007.
That 2007 return was multifaceted. He had commercial success with his family in Apney.
And critical success in the ensemble drama Life in a Metro.
And we have to mention Johnny Gadar from that year.
We must. A neo-noir thriller that failed commercially on release but garnered immense critical praise. It later attained undeniable cult status.
It showed he was still willing to take risks.
And work with younger, innovative directors, like Sriram Raghavan. It showed great flexibility late in his career.
And his career spanned right up to his passing, culminating in a highly successful return to mainstream family drama.
That was Karan Johar's 2023 film, Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. It was a global success.
And it won the National Award for Best Popular Film.
It did. And his very final film, the war drama Ickies, was released posthumously in 2025, bringing his 65-year cinematic journey to its close.
It's clear his commercial record is basically unmatched. Yet, despite holding these records and being the undisputed #1 actor for years, his relationship with the formal film award system was, well, it was fraught.
It's a key paradox in his legacy. The sources highlight the significant and very public disconnect between his mass appeal and institutional recognition.
When he received the Filmfare Lifetime Achievement Award in 1997,
He became visibly emotional. He used that moment to state openly that he had never won the coveted Filmfare Award for Best Actor, despite his long, successful career. It was a lasting regret for him.
and he had 4 nominations for Best Actor, for Phul Aur Pathar, Marigaon Maradesh, Yadon Ki Barat.
But never the win.
So if he was dominating the box office to that extent, topping the charts for 4 straight years, why do the sources suggest the critical establishment consistently overlooked him?
That's the central question. His He-Man image, the rugged physical action star, was so powerful that the critical elite often seemed to struggle to see beyond it.
They assumed the physicality detracted from the acting.
It seems that way. The awards often gravitated toward less commercially dominant but more classically dramatic performances. His commercial dominance, ironically, may have worked against him.
But the moment he received that Lifetime Award was immortalized by a remarkably high compliment from one of cinema's most respected figures.
Dilip Kumar. While presenting the award, he delivered a comment that has become legendary.
He famously told Dharmendra,
"Whenever I get to meet with God Almighty, I will set before him my only complaint, why did you not make me as handsome as Dharmendra?"
what a thing to say. It just cemented the industry's universal respect for his charm and charisma.
And that appeal wasn't just domestic. He was internationally recognized for his looks.
Voted one of the most handsome men in the world.
In the mid-70s, yes. And his box office durability is statistically proven. He appeared on Box Office India's top actors list 18 times between 1968 and 1987.
Topping that list for 4 consecutive years.
From 72 through 75. This is a measure of sustained, verifiable commercial dominance.
So while the Best Actor trophy remained elusive, he did eventually receive high civilian recognition from the Indian government.
He did. The government of India honored him with the Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian honor, in 2012. And he collected numerous other Lifetime Achievement Awards over the years.
So the industry did ultimately recognize his longevity and impact.
In the end, yes.
Now, moving beyond acting, Dharmendra was also instrumental in establishing the Deol family as a major production powerhouse.
He established his production company, Vijaya Films, in 1983. This was strategically crucial for cementing the family's legacy.
And the company's very first venture launched his son.
It did. The 1983 film Beta Ab, which launched his eldest son, Sunny Deol, It was a resounding success, the second highest grossing film of that year.
And the production house quickly followed that with an acclaimed national award-winning film.
In 1990, Gayal, also starring Sunny, which was a huge critical hit. It won 7 Filmfare Awards, including Best Film and the National Film Award for Best Popular Film.
And then he launched his younger son, Bobby.
In 1995, in Barsat. And the sources highlight a striking detail here. Barsat was the costliest Indian film ever made at the time to feature newcomers.
Which just shows his confidence and financial clout in nurturing that next generation.
Absolutely.
Okay, we need to turn our attention now to his foray into politics. This was a brief chapter and one that generated considerable controversy.
His political career was short-lived and, yes, highly contentious. He served as a member of parliament for the BJP, representing Bikaner from 2004 to 2009.
And the tenure was mainly marked by questions about his commitment.
That's putting it mildly. The controversy started right during his election campaign, with a remark that seemed so jarringly at odds with his screen persona.
The dictator perpetuo comment.
It was an astonishing thing to say for a public figure. He said he should be elected dictator perpetuo to teach basic etiquette that democracy requires.
And it was immediately and severely criticized.
Across the political spectrum, it was a bizarre, authoritarian statement that contrasted so sharply with his carefully cultivated common man image.
And once he was elected, his performance as a representative drew even more criticism.
The sources confirm he was widely condemned for his absenteeism. He rarely attended parliament sessions, preferring to spend his time shooting films or at his farmhouse. His political tenure is really seen as an example of celebrity translating poorly into committed public service.
Shifting to his personal sphere, his private life, particularly his dual marriages, often drew intense public scrutiny.
He married Prakash Kaur very young, in 1954, before he ever entered the film industry, and they had 4 children together.
Including Sunny and Bobby Deol.
Right. His second marriage came much later, after years of co-starring with Hema Malini. He married her in 1980.
Which was publicly controversial because he was still legally married to Prakash Kaur. And the sources mention rumors about him converting to Islam for that second wedding. Why was that rumor significant?
Well, under the existing Indian personal laws for Hindus at the time, polygamy was illegal. So if the rumor of conversion was true, it would have been a legal maneuver to circumvent those marriage laws.
Because certain interpretations of Muslim personal law permit multiple wives.
Exactly. But the sources confirm that when these rumors resurfaced during his 2004 political campaign, Dharmendra firmly asserted that he had remained a Hindu. He denied ever changing his religion.
We also get some insight into the complex familial arrangement that existed later in his life.
He and Hema Malini had 2 daughters, Ishana and Ahana. But the sources specify that throughout his later life, Dharmendra spent the majority of his time with his first wife, Prakash Kaur.
While Hema Malini lived independently with her children.
Yes. It highlights a very complex, often unconventional family dynamic that was, over time, largely accepted.
It's a compelling contrast to see that he-man persona next to a much softer, more reflective side that emerged later in life through his writing.
Following a serious back ailment in 2001, he found a new creative outlet. He began writing poetry to cope with the solitude and introspection.
The sources describe him composing these spontaneous verses, reflecting on life and vulnerability.
A very tender artistic dimension that the action hero image often overshadowed.
His later years were also marked by significant and well-documented health struggles.
They were serious and ongoing. The sources reveal he was previously known for severe alcohol addiction, even being dubbed the biggest boozer in Bollywood.
But he quit drinking entirely in 2010.
After a major health scare, yes. But subsequently, between 2015 and 2020, he faced multiple hospitalizations for various issues.
And here we have to address a truly distressing incident that occurred in his final weeks. The premature and false declaration of his death on November 11th, 2025.
It was an extremely unfortunate and painful incident for the family. He'd been admitted to the hospital on November 10th for respiratory issues, and his condition was listed as critical.
And the very next day, these rumors of his death began circulating recklessly across social media.
And were picked up by some less reputable news channels. The speed and severity of the misinformation was so persuasive that even respected public figures.
They believed the reports were true and mistakenly offered public condolences.
That's the true measure of the chaos. The Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and the respected lyricist Javed Akhtar both publicly mourned his death. It shows how quickly unverified news can gain traction.
And the distress this caused the family, who were already dealing with his critical condition, must have been just immense.
Awful. Hema Malini and his daughter Aisha Deol had to immediately step in to debunk the information, confirming he was alive. They rightly condemned it as completely unacceptable and irresponsible,
It's such a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked digital information.
causing so much unnecessary confusion and significant pain.
And sadly, he passed away soon after that ordeal at his residence on November 24th, 2025.
The end of an era.
Dharmendra's legacy is so complex and colossal. An unparalleled commercial career, a brief but controversial stint in politics, and the enduring role of a family patriarch.
And you see the universal admiration he commanded within the industry. Amitabh Bachchan revealed that his wife Jaya Bachchan considered Dharmendra the ultimate star. She famously called him a Greek god.
Hannon said there was nobody in the industry more handsome than him.
Salman Khan, a massive star himself, echoed that sentiment. He said he consistently looked up to Dharmendra, calling him the most beautiful-looking man.
Because his face combined innocence and vulnerability with that strong masculine physique.
The macho man label. But contemporaries like Zenon Aban also found him the most humble and easiest co-star to work with.
Yet, despite all this adoration and heading one of Bollywood's most powerful families, the sources reveal a surprising sentiment from him late in life.
In 2023, he expressed a feeling of being undervalued. He lamented that Bollywood had neglected his family and failed to sufficiently appreciate the overall contributions of the Deol family to Indian cinema.
That sense of being slighted, despite their massive commercial success, is such a poignant detail.
It is. His career is a defining case study in sustained stardom. He adapted from romantic leads to action heroes, a shift that structurally changed the industry, and then to respected character roles right up to 2025.
All while maintaining that enormous box office pull.
And the historical reality of his career, being the highest grossing actor for 4 straight years and achieving that all-time record for audience footfalls with Sholay, contrasted against his decades-long frustration over never winning a Best Actor award. It prompts you to think about what cultural influence really is.
His legacy isn't in trophies.
It's in audience footfalls and the generational cultural impact of the masala film genre he pioneered. He proved that mass influence can fundamentally surpass formal institutional recognition.
So for you, the listener, the continuing exploration might be examining how films like Sholay and Yaadan Ki Barat weren't just successful movies, but were structural blueprints that fundamentally defined the core Indian cinematic experience for generations, ensuring his legacy continues to shape the industry long after his passing.
We hope this discussion has provided you with clarity and context on his monumental impact on Indian cinema and culture.
Thanks for listening.